In this episode, you are going to learn how to turn your personal transformation into a coaching offer because you're already qualified enough to help people, even if you've only helped yourself. Welcome, my loves, to the Spiritually Ambitious Entrepreneur podcast. This is the space for my recovering perfectionists, my recovering overachievers who want to build a business without burning themselves out, want to build a business that aligns with their values and funds your freedom. I'm your host, Coach Chels, ex doctor turned six-figure entrepreneur and full-time traveler. I am currently coming at you from Jersey. I say it like that because it is not Jersey, because I'm not in New Jersey. I'm in Jersey, the British Isles. So I'm in a little island in the Atlantic Ocean. It's near Guernsey, and it's kind of off the coast of France is what it looks like, but it's part of Great Britain. So I'm here visiting a friend and sharing this with you. And this particular episode is part of a new series I'm doing. It's part of the strategy sessions where I'm teaching you guys strategic pieces that will help you turn your expertise into one clear offer that changes other people's lives and also funds your freedom in the meantime. And then also through the lens of designing a burnout proof business. So designing your business in a way that is intentional, that it aligns with your energy, your values, so it energizes and inspires you. These are the strategy sessions. It's the pieces where I'm really teaching the strategic nuts and bolts of how I've done this, how I help my clients do this. And these are happening every Tuesday. So let's get into today's episode. You, my lovely spiritually ambitious entrepreneur, you have been on a journey, a personal growth journey. Maybe you've like found the thing that's helped you overcome your stress, or maybe you've like started meditating and now you feel like you're a nicer person, or maybe you have started like doing arts and crafts and like that has calmed your nervous system, or like you've learned how to like use your creativity in a certain way. You're on your own personal journey right now, right? You've gone through some kind of personal transformation. And yes, it's ongoing. Yes, it's something you're continuing to do, but you've made some changes that are already significant enough where like you feel different now. You're not the same person you were when you started your journey. And now you want to help other people. Like you've gotten the self-help bug. You've gotten the wellness bug. You've done something, you've gone through something and you're like, "Oh, okay, now I really want to help people with this. Like this has changed me. This has made such a difference." And maybe you're having conversations in your personal life. Maybe people are asking you about it. Maybe you wish you could have conversations in your personal life, but not enough people are asking you about it and you want to like shove it in their face. But that hasn't really gotten great results. But either way, you've gone through something. Some of my clients, it's like they've been like getting out in nature and become more connected to their family because of it. I have another client who uses nature spirituality, and she's used that to regulate her nervous system, to calm her stress, to also learn how to stop people pleasing, which is wild, and like take control of her own life. I had a client who had been starting to naturally sync her cycle to reduce her period anxiety and to just start feeling more calm and reducing the symptoms of her cycle as well. You have done something, you've made some kind of personal transformation, but you're like not sure if your own experience is enough. Maybe you have a hard time really identifying your full journey of transformation. Like it's harder to see clearly because you're the one who's been in it this whole time. Maybe you feel like, okay, well, yeah, I've done it for myself, but and yeah, I have these graduate degrees and this training and experience, but now I need to get a certification. Now I need to get training. Or maybe you've already gotten certifications and training and you're just like, well, I still need to learn more about this topic. I need to become an expert here. I need to like finish this. Yes, I've already done it for me, but I don't know if that's enough to be able to help other people yet. Or I don't know if I'm ready to help other people. What if I try to help someone else and it doesn't work for them, or I don't get the results? Like I'm not a full expert yet. I don't have enough experience. This is the episode where I'm going to talk about how to take your personal story and your personal transformation and turn it into a coaching offer. But first, let's go into like what is going on here. We're not really taught to place a lot of value on our own like lived experience and embodied wisdom. I remember back in my day when I was in med school, Snapchat was the big thing. I don't know if that's a thing anymore, but I just remember like putting up these snaps on like when I'm in med school and I was like studying one night and I was like drinking Mountain Dew and like eating gummy worms while I'm like studying medicine, like the human body and health. And I'm like, I put the picture on my snap and I was like, I never said I was a role model. Right. And that's just like a silly example of in medicine and maybe in whatever it is that you have studied, because I think this is pretty common. We're really taught that like the knowledge is more important than like our lived experience. Like I thought, and maybe I just was the one who thought this, that like as long as I knew and I could tell people what to do and I knew it and I had the theory of it, that like that was more important than me doing it myself, me living it myself. Now, like in medicine, we don't really have time to live healthfully ourselves. That was my experience, at least as someone with ADHD. I didn't have the capacity to like live healthfully and be studying medicine. But that's just an example of we've been really taught to value like classroom knowledge over embodied wisdom. And we haven't really learned to like value our own experiential wisdom. So yes, you've lived through the transformation, but you're not placing value on that because maybe it's like was a messy transformation. You know, you kind of like tried this thing, then tried that thing, and then you kind of figured this thing out and you took something from here. So it's like messy, it's like anecdotal, it's not super textbook, right? But what I want you guys to know, lived wisdom is real expertise. Oftentimes, the actual living of the wisdom and the embodied experience of living something or going through something is so much more valuable than theory or credentials because you just know it in a different way. Like, think about, I'm just going to use football as an example. American football, why this is what came to me, I don't know. But it's like a football coach goes in to coach a team, but the only thing they know is the theory. Like they've never played the game themselves. So they're just coming in with like the theory of football and like how human bodies are supposed to work, but they have no experience being a player on the field. Like maybe just some like IT nerd is like going in there and like learned everything about football. They're going in trying to teach and coach a football team, but like they don't understand what it's actually like to be on the field and be on I was gonna say the court. That's not what it is. Oh, why is this the analogy that I'm using? Um, it's just different. Like to having lived through something and done it and like played and like been in the game and you're gonna know nuances in a different way. You're gonna be like, yeah, technically this is a play that's supposed to work, but what happens when we're on the field, we get anxious and we really need to regulate. Well, they're probably not going to talk about regulating your nervous system. The point I'm making is your lived experience is very trustworthy. It's more trustworthy than only having the abstract theoretical experience, right? So it is enough that you have gone through it and you've done it. There's like some perfectionism, arrival fallacy vibes of like, I don't know enough yet. Like, yes, I've gone through it myself, but I really need to learn the textbook. I need to learn more about these things, take a course, get certified in this thing, like take more classes, and then I'll start helping people because you think that there's like this mythical arrival point that you'll get to where you'll suddenly feel ready. And this is something that I've gone through this so many times. And I have to just always remind myself, like, this is just what you do because it does feel safer to be a student, right? The classroom is our safe zone. We love being in the classroom, right? You can like study, learn, take notes, take tests, like learn the material, get an A, learning certifications. It makes you feel like you're making progress without putting risk into it, right? And there's like something protective about it, protective about the risk of like putting yourself out there and like, what if you're actually working with a client and then there's something you don't know and you can't help them in this, and then you're found out and oh my gosh, what do we do, right? So there's a lot of things that are going on here. Your clients, they don't care if you have a degree, if you have a certification. They just care if you can help them. People are coming to you, or maybe not yet, but people will. They'll start coming to you. And the real question they're asking on any sort of sales call, on any sort of conversation is like, can you help me? And that's all it is. It's like people, they want help. People want help. And can you help them? That's what we got to answer. So let's talk about how to take your story your personal transformation, whatever you have been through, and turn that into your offer. We are going to start with you want to define your point A and your point B. And when we do this, we want to try to make it as clear and tangible as possible and like choose one dimension of it. But as we're starting out, we want to just get it all out there, like brainstorming your before and your after. Like, what are all the pieces of it? Like, before, define that. What was that? What were you doing? So for me, it's like I was in medicine. I was really unhappy. I was feeling burnt out. I kept like looking up remote year programs and wanting to travel. There's all these, like, I wanted to spend my time hiking and doing things on the weekend. I was feeling resentful. I was feeling really sad. I was feeling lonely. There's a lot of things happening in here. But you just want to get it all out on paper. Like, what was your before moment? And then what was your after moment? And like, what are all the pieces there? My point B was starting my business. I was traveling, became a digital nomad. I was, I had freedom working online. I'm not burnt out anymore. I am enjoying my life by getting to do bucket list experiences everywhere. Brainstorm out your whole point A, brainstorm out your whole point B. Like what are all the pieces of it? But then we want to see if we can choose one dimension of it. And we want to just make it as clear and tangible as possible as we're getting started, right? So initially for me, this was really difficult because it's like, oh, well, it's simple. I just went from hating my life to loving my life. And I just changed every single aspect of it in order to get there. So it's like full life transformation. And I did it in like a year. So yeah, people don't really want that. Not everyone is as extreme as that. Like full life transformation in 1 year, but just the only requirement is you change every single thing about your life. Literally sell all your belongings, get a new profession, get new friends, change where you live, send your dog to your sister. Like, like it was literally like, that's not really what people wanted. Life liquidation. So that is not what we want to do. We want to choose just like one dimension of it. So like for me, like in my whole experience, okay, what were some of the dimensions of that? Well, like burnout, right? From burnt out to like energized and recovered. That could be one dimension. Another dimension is the career piece, right? Part of it was like from being employed to being an entrepreneur. So starting a business could be part of it. Another part of it could just be like career alignment. So like being in the wrong career to now being in a more aligned career. One of my clients, one of her things, I was talking about this earlier, it's like she was having really painful periods and feeling scared of her periods and just so much anxiety around that. So painful, anxious periods to like less painful, calm periods. Another one of my clients it was more like a body image kind of a thing, like in a health coaching way, but it's like from hating your body to feeling at peace in your body. Okay. You want to be specific enough that you're choosing one dimension, right? So like the hating body, feeling at peace with body, what we're not saying is like, I went on a wellness transformation journey. Like I changed my health, right? Like felt better, became healthier, right? That's more broad, but like hating body, feeling at peace with body, that's like one dimension of the point A to point B. Okay. So that's what we want to do first. Brainstorm everything out of your point A, brainstorm everything out of your point B. And if it's complicated, if there's many different things you did, you want to just choose one aspect and like one dimension of it, but like from a results perspective too. So one of my clients, we were doing this with her on Sunday and she had all these different things. Well, I started, doing like more cyclic living. I started doing like learning about my nervous system and implementing like herbs and different things and like slowing down. Like she had all these different things she was doing, but it's not about what you're doing yet. It's just like what it was that you experienced from a point A to point B, right? And so for her, it ended up being more about people pleasing and about feeling like there's no room for her in her own life to taking charge of her own time, her schedule, taking charge of her life, essentially. But that's broad too. So then we decided to make it from a schedule perspective, right? So from not having time in your day to do anything for you to taking charge of your schedule, taking control of your time. Okay. One dimension, right? That's a scheduling, timing dimension. One transformation, a point A, a point B. It's never going to feel like it was so black and white. Like if you just went through it. And again, it's not that your point B means that you're perfect at that point B, especially if it's something like, hey, some days I don't feel at peace with my body. some days I still, and then some periods I would still feel anxious. And it's not a perfection, but it's like, has there been an improvement from your point A to your point B? So tuning into that. And if you're struggling with this, this is something that we do inside Create Your Six Figure Offer. And so I will help you get your story out literally every time I have one call with a client. And like, I'm like, there's so many things here. We have so much with this one story. So yeah, if you want some additional support with that and you want someone to help extract your story, that is something I am very gifted at. So the next thing we're going to do is I want to identify the steps, the milestones, like what were all the things that you had to do, that you had to shift, the things you had to learn, the things you had to master to get from point A to point B. Like, what did you do? What were the steps you took? Don't worry about like putting it in an order just yet, but just like get it all out there. You can think of it from mindset, like were there mindset things you needed to do? Did you have to start thinking of things differently? And really just go back for your journey. Like, what did you do? And there's so much in your journey. And it's such a rich thing. You'll go back to it and revisit it again and again and remember, oh yeah, but then I did this. And then I learned this thing. And then I listened to this and it taught me this. And this is what happened, right? So what were some of the perspective shifts? The way, like the things that you learned, the habits you changed, the things you had to master, the big, just like ways you had to look at things differently, actions you took. So get all of that out. And then you want to ask yourself, like, which ones are you most excited to teach about, to share about, to guide people through? Which ones were the most necessary for you? Like maybe you did a bunch of things, but you're like, I actually didn't have to do that. So we can take that part out. And this is where we're starting to distill it down into what is most necessary and effective to actually get your point A to point B. Like, was this really necessary to get from point A to point B? Or was this just like a decoration step? And then which ones are you most excited to teach on and to guide people through? Because for me, one of the things I did initially was it was like I quit my job and then I got a new job as like my bridge job, teaching, and I was teaching English in South Korea. But the thing I was not excited to help people do was like get hired for a bridge job and like quit, like turn in their resignation. Like these were things that I was like, that's not really that interesting to me. Like just do that. Just figure it out. Just do that yourself. So there might be some things you did that you're like, yeah, but I did that. But like, I don't really want to teach about that part. And so you want to keep that in mind. You want to keep your own interest, your own zone of genius in mind as you do this. And if you are not sure what your zone of genius is, if you don't know like what your strengths are, I teach you how to do this inside of Map Your Genius, which is actually, it's so cool. It's this custom tool that I created that uses a combination of ChatGPT, journaling, and this Google Sheet. It shows you 3 ways to turn what you already know into an offer that people will happily pay for. It helps you identify your core skills, how they combine to make your genius, and how you can turn that into an offer. So that is something else I really recommend everyone getting. If you haven't figured out exactly how you're going to help people, like go ahead and grab Map Your Genius, because not only does it go through and help you do it for yourself, I have this entire core strengths matrix where I show you like the 20 main strengths that people have. And you'll find the 5 that are yours. But then with each strength, there's a value add. Like, how does this help people? Who cares? Like, yes, you're good at it, but how does that add value to people? And then based on how it adds value, how can this become a business expression? Like, how can you use this value, like put value out in this way in the form of a business expression, which gives you so many ideas for how you can take what you're best at and turn it into a way to monetize, which is so fun. Okay, so where were we? So yes, now you have your point A to point B, and then you're distilling down like what were the steps I took to get there, and you're turning that into your program. So this is something I did with one of my clients recently. It was like the 4-week program to feel at peace in your body. So we distilled it into 4 things. We literally created her whole offer in one session. It was epic. Week 1 was mindset focused. It's like you have to drop the all or nothing mindset and then start a mindfulness practice. And then 2 is nutrition. You have to learn. She wants to do number 2 is nutrition. So she's doing a food label crash course to just like understand like how to look at a food label, macros for your different meals and what's expected there. And then water intake. So it's just like, what are the basics of nutrition that you need to know? 3 is developing a movement practice to honor your body. And then 4 is about sleep and stress reduction. And so we distilled this whole program or her whole transformation. Obviously, this is like a beginner program. Each of those 1 weeks, there's so many more things that can go into it, but we just like, we want to start somewhere, right? We all try to make it way too complicated. So 4 week program to feel at peace in your body. We outlined these 4 steps and boom, we have an outline of her program. We have like her first rough draft, which is epic. So what I want you to do now that we're done, just get out your journal and answer these questions. Brainstorm on your point A and your point B. What was my point A? What was my point B? And then pick one dimension of that. And then ask yourself, how did I do it? How did I get from point A to point B? What were the steps I took? What were the things I learned? What did I do? And of that, like, what am I most excited to share and teach on? And what's most important and necessary to move people from point A to point B? So there you have it. You can literally turn your personal transformation into a coaching offer. If you want my support and my guidance on how to actually help you do this and how to help extract your story, this is the work we do together inside Create Your Six-Figure Offer. And we are starting our first cohort for this for Q4. So send me a message on Instagram or send me an email, hello@coachchelsmd.com, and I can share more about how to jump in to create your six-figure offer. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you back every Tuesday and Friday